What up, racer? ItsJerone here, and welcome back to the final FRL race of this season. And you're joining me here at the Bahrain International Circuit. If you did not see the previous video around Brazil, I would recommend you go check that one out because it was quite an interesting one. I'll leave a link in the top right. Anyways, we're here at Bahrain, and it's a track I do love driving, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I get good results here. I DNF'd 3 out of my 3 career mode races here, and in AOR, I also don't have the best memories here, so we'll see what I can do today. And talking about the standings, you can see Terror is leading this race by 9 points over Sylvan and 21 over Chilu. And I can confirm that Sylvan won't be driving this race. Quite an interesting decision in my opinion, but he said he didn't really enjoy driving on this game anymore. I probably would have shown up for this final race, but I guess it is what it is, and that means that clinching the championship will be a lot easier now for Terror, because we have to look down to 3rd place to find the next title contender, which is the McLaren of Chilu, and he's 21 points behind, so Chilu has to win this race, and if Chilu wins this race, then Terror has to finish at least in P7. And of course, if Chilu doesn't win the race, then that means that Terror wins the title without having to finish at all, basically. So, heading into qualifying now, and, well, I did quite a decent lap on the mediums, I think. It was about a second and a half off of pole position at that time. And I decided to go out on softs just to see where I could end up if I would want to complete the lap. And so far it's quite clean, I guess. Taking good average speed throughout the lap so far, no major mistakes, so I'm actually looking pretty good here. And considering this hairpin is quite difficult, it probably wasn't the best, but it's also not too bad. And we're currently up a second on the delta, which I set on the medium compound. And considering Paul is only a second and a half ahead of me, there might be a chance, as I do make a mistake there in that left-hander. You don't want to run that wide, that cost a little bit of time there. But I really wasn't sure whether I wanted to set this lap, and when I heard that FRL Ginger was currently on pole, I decided to actually go for it. I knew there was quite a bit of time in this final corner, so 4th gear, short shifting to 5th, try to use the exit now. You can do that after the new update, the curb update. And I improved by 1.4 tenths, but it's just about not enough to clinch the pole position away from Ginger. So the lap was good enough for a 2nd place. It was actually quite an okay lap. I was quite content with it, I guess. My time trial PB was like 25.8, I believe. So we're only 3 tenths off. That's quite good. So instead of starting on the mediums, what I initially aimed for, I guess we'll start in 2nd place on the soft compound and aiming to do a soft medium strategy here. Although the game doesn't show it as a possibility, it's definitely possible to do soft mediums. The mediums are a very durable and also quite quick compound around here. So it should be an exciting race, the final race, where Terror should be able to clinch his first FRL title. And for myself, starting in 2nd place, we'll see what we can do. So it's Ginger ahead, Kazizzle behind, and Zach as well. And the 5 redouts are on. So trying to get a good start here, and it's quite a good launch relative to Ginger. He tries to squeeze me a little bit, but I'm having none of that, and actually pushing him back to the left hand side a little bit. Then also at the apex of turn 1, we also make a little bit of contact, so there's already 2 warnings for collisions there with Ginger. Usually don't get time penalties for collisions, but then Kazizzle got a good exit and tried to squeeze him all the way to the right, and he actually went for it and actually gets the move done. So good job by the Aston Martin driver, and we're down to 3rd place for the time being. And of course, when you've only been practicing quali trim basically, usually for FRL nobody does race practice, so when you go from quali trim to race trim, you have to adjust quite a bit. And unfortunately here at the hairpin, running a little bit too deep, not sure if my braking potential was off or whether my braking point was off, but we have to leave a bit of space on the inside for Chilu, and unfortunately I run over that same curb again as I was running over in qualifying, and that's not where you find the traction. So I have to slot in behind Heyoo, losing 2 positions off of the start here, which is not ideal, but I guess the race is quite long, and strategy is quite an influential factor here. Some might be trying a soft hard, others might be trying soft medium. I was intending on going soft medium. So yeah, let's see what happens. Ginger still leading the race, setting the fastest lap. Then it's currently the championship leader somewhere around 8th place, I believe. He's starting on the mediums as well as his teammate Ron. And they will be looking to cut through the field at a later stage. Then for myself here, getting a bit of oversteer on the exit. So I decided to defend the inside here. A little bit of contact on the straight with Zach as well. But I do manage to hold him off and will stay in 4th place for the moment. I was definitely struggling here, adjusting to the high fuel loads and the temperatures as Zach sends one down the inside. Kazizel running wide there on the exit as well. But let's focus on our exit, which is quite a good one. And we have the inside for this hairpin. A little bit of contact in the braking zone, but I don't think I could have done anything else. And Zach actually loses the position to Blue Racer there. Then skipping on a couple of laps. Well, a couple of laps I say, about 1.5 laps later. I was getting in the groove a little bit and trying to save a little bit of ERS, but actually I didn't really get the opportunity to do that because Blue Racer was quite close in his Williams as Kazizel sends one down the inside for the lead of the race. But then he comes back onto the track and it's contact and we have to avoid him. But then we also spin because somehow there's gravel there on the outside of the track, and honestly I thought that was tarmac. I had no idea there was gravel there. And we're down to last place, to P13. So as you can see here, the first part was actually tarmac, but then there's basically no color difference at all. And then it turns to gravel. So yeah, I was just not expecting that. And by the time I hit the gravel, I was already lifting off and planning on, well, making sure I wasn't putting in anything. Jesus, can I talk? I was planning on not putting in any throttle input and rejoining that way, but due to the gravel I already span earlier, so it's probably my fault, but honestly I had no idea there was gravel there. If you did know that, then please let me know. It's not like I'm, let's say, looking at where the gravel traps are around the track. I'm not putting in that much practice and stuff, but yeah, I probably should have slowed down a lot more either way before rejoining the track. So we're down to last. Well, we're not down to last anymore because Jordy span and we just passed Mad Dog on track and managed to extend the stint to lap 9. But then a safety car's been pulled out because one of the Mercedes cars has put it into the wall, and that means we're essentially back into this race. Well, we're back into this, but we're currently in 7th place with basically everyone in front of us has made a pit stop. And actually we're still in P7 now, but Ron made his pit stop. He decided to swap the hards back to mediums again. And under the safety car conditions, the AI car Ginger overtook me. So essentially I gained and I lost 1 position in the safety car, which is interesting, as in the meanwhile Ginger going down the inside of Kyle at the restart here. And he's now up to 5th place. And soon I'll be looking to try and pass Kyle as well. So let's see what we can do here. It's lap 16 out of 29. The restart's already been underway for quite a while. And as you would expect around here, DRS trains are forming. It's currently Zach leading this race, and he pulled away from Heyoo, and I'm not sure who else is there. Probably Ginger made his way all the way to the front again, it seems. Then I'm pretty sure it's Blue in P5, then Terror P5, Blue in P4, Terror in P5, then it's Kyle in P6, and myself in P7, or actually make that P6, because Ginger spun out from 2nd place of the race. So unfortunate for him, but 1 position for all of us again. And right behind me it's Ron on fresher medium compound tires than everyone else. And you can just see here we're staying on board for this lap, and you can just see how difficult it is to try and make a move on someone here in these DRS trains. So I was trying to save a little bit of ERS throughout times where I wouldn't need it. And yeah, I noticed by this stage that I was a bit faster than Kyle. He was making some slight mistakes here and there. Nobody was really planning on taking risks, and yeah, we'll see what happens now. So I actually managed to stay quite close there through those fast corners and decided to use a little bit of ERS on this exit here to try and close up to Kyle a little bit. And he's quite slow on his apex, so we're right on his gearbox, but he does get a bit better traction. Then I'm only 2.5 tenths behind, and Ron actually, he's pushing my gearbox as well, so I'm going to keep the overtake on. Kyle defends the middle of the track, but I send it down the inside, and I overcook it a little bit, and I make contact with the championship leader, Terror, and unfortunately that's me round again for the second time this race, and I drop back all the way to where Ginger is, but unfortunately I also have a little bit of wing damage, and apparently that little bit of contact also gave Terror side pod damage. Although it was slight, it definitely impacted his race as well. As you can see, a Ferrari DNFs there on the left hand side. Maddock did a bit of an Albon, I guess, putting it into the wall there. So basically it's myself and Ginger at this stage. We decided to make a 1v1 out of this situation because we're essentially both dead last. So let's just have a bit of fun for the rest of this race and do a little bit of a 1v1. For Terror, basically nothing can go wrong anymore. He will just finish in P7 either way. They're like 40 seconds up the road at this stage. So yeah, we're gonna see what happens with this little 1v1. Just a bit of a 1v1 for pride. This time braking a lot earlier. I learned from that mistake there. I think in a straight up 1v1 situation, the braking point where I started braking when I made contact with Terror would have been okay, but in a race situation where it's DRS trains, I had to brake a little bit earlier, missed the braking point by about, I don't know, 3 or 5 meters or something. And yeah, you can also see Ginger was struggling a little bit. The setup, most of the guys here were running, actually wasn't that good. I felt my setup was a bit better, also a bit lower on the downforce, as Ginger actually sends one down the inside. But for now, we'll just leave this 1v1 for what it is. I'm not going to commentate all over it. And I would like to spend a few final words on my first season in this league and also my performances so far. So first of all, I want to say thanks everyone for mostly clean driving and also for the commitment everyone showed in terms of showing up. Although it's a league where you're basically free to race whenever the hell you want, it's always good to have a bit of consistency in terms of everyone showing up, and I think it was quite okay. I think there were like 2 races where we had less than 15 people, so overall quite happy with that. And also really enjoyed the fact that this is just basically no practice. You show up like half an hour before the race, do a little bit of time trial practice, get your setup and get acquainted with the track a little bit, and after that just go and drive and have some fun. So overall I think my performances were quite okay this season. I think I had a little bit of improvement as well throughout the season, and the podium finish in USA was, I think, quite a good example of that one. I was quite on the pace there, and it's looking like that will be the only podium I will get this season, as we're probably not going to get into the podium this race, as we try to do a little double switchback here on Ginger, and in the end this will conclude the 1v1. I will get ahead of him here, and it will be enough for, well, 8th place in this race. In the end, Heyoo finishes the race in 2nd place. Terror finishes in P5, so he clinches the championship, and at the end here I decided to do some donuts in celebration for his championship, and as a sort of sign of respect for causing the wing damage or the sidepod damage for his race. In the end, it's Zach winning this race. He's on strong form. Heyoo 2nd. Blue Racer gets his first podium, but actually Kyle will get his 3-second time penalty removed, and he will finish in 3rd place, and due to me finishing in 8th place, Kyle and I will draw equal on points, and I believe I will actually finish this season in 7th place because my best finish is 2nd place and Kyle's best finish is 3rd place. So I think I will get 7th place in this championship, but it really doesn't matter too much because I think I've participated in all the races here. I'm not entirely sure when the new season will start, but I'm pretty sure it will be somewhere in December, and I'll most likely sign up for it, or in fact, I'm 99% sure I'll sign up for that. If you would like to see me race in FRL next season, then subscribing to the channel will be the way that you won't miss any videos. And I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do in terms of Tuesday uploads, where it's usually my FRL uploads in the meanwhile, but I guess I'll find something for that. Anyways though, I'll see you for the next video. Bye bye.